And then I would like to introduce Rita Golden, who is, as most of you know, our treasurer. And she's been working with, following along with, aggravated by the National League of Women Voters organization. And so she's going to tell us what's about to happen in the coming months with the way that our fee structure is working and some other things like that. And I'm going to run down the line and mute everybody, so don't be offended if I mute you. All right, thank you, Rita. Take it away.
Okay, I am going to share my screen. Yeah, if it will let me. There we go. Sorry about this, guys. I'm in a different computer. Okay. Okay, so it should let me share it now. Yes. Okay. So, okay. So the league, the US League has decided that it needed to overhaul things. And this is going back to like 2016 that it decided to start looking at this. And they are now getting to the point where they need to implement. So last 6 years have been this. I'm going to run through what's happened in the last 6 years in the first part of this presentation, and then take any questions, and then I'll go into what it's going to mean for us and the more of the specifics. Okay, they call it a transformation journey, and it's pretty big. It's really a very large change for everybody. And so, as you can imagine, they're having lots of meetings, they're having lots of objections, they're having lots of input from lots of leagues. So let me just see if it will let me change this. Come on. Okay, so just for the background on this, for a little bit of background on it, they embarked on this, like I said, in 2016. And then at the 2018 National Convention, they did a transformation roadmap, which was formulated with input from the leagues at all levels. So if anybody went to the National Convention in 2018, you would have heard about this. Okay. Next, at the 2020 National Convention, the delegates voted to elevate the DEI policy to the same importance as the nonpartisan policy. This was a huge shift for the league. And they have since, in January 2024, they updated that policy. So they now have a completely new one, but at 2020 is when they actually upgraded their policy to an important level. And all of the league's delegates also adopted updates to the bylaws and budget commitments, which is how they phrased it in the vote, to take the transformation to the next level. So now they're calling it the framework of our future. Okay. And when I take questions, I can also put the links, I think, in the chat for anybody. But the US League has lots more information than you will ever want on all of this on their website. Okay. So, come on. Okay. So this is the transformation journey. So this is where we are at this point. They did the organizational assessment in 2016, the roadmap they laid out in 2018. They did the DEI commitment in 2020. They structured the transformation plan as for a rollout in 2022. And then in 2023 and 2024, we'll be framing the future which is basically the implementation. Okay. So they're calling it POP. So they, this implementation phase, it concerns our membership, our fee structure, and our donations. And so they are now at the point where they're asking all of the leagues to present all of this information to their members, so that nobody is surprised when everything shifts on this. Okay. The outcome is more or less their talking points as to what they see at the end of this journey. So, and they want to prepare everybody for the changes that will get them there. And then the process is the information that we currently have as to how this is all going to play out, and hopefully get us to the point where they want it to be. So why are the changes? They want to build power at every level to fulfill our mission. I don't think there's anybody in the league who's going to disagree with that. They want vital work that's happening at the state and local levels to benefit from increased support. For me, the jury is still out on that one. And changing the pay requirement will open leagues to a more diverse, expansive membership. They are changing the pay requirements, which you'll see later on. And I think that I'm hoping that it will, that statement does come to pass. And then too much time and talent are spent on duplicative administrative efforts. I'm not too sure about that one. Again, I don't think it will for us at our league level. It may for Laura Marcus Montjoy, who is our membership chair, but that would, to me, that would be the only person that that's going to apply to. So their goals are, they want a multi-stage, multi-year inclusive process that increases and diversifies the league membership, strengthens operations across the nation to deliver on our mission, and to build power. So that's their goal. Nobody's going to disagree with that goal. The method will consist of eliminating financial barriers to participation, create an equitable division of dues, which jury's still out on that one too, and simplify mechanics of joining a league. I'm not so sure about whether it'll simplify that, but we'll see. So, okay. So the implementation for framing the future. Right. 2 years ago, or no, this is 24. So in 2020, the league sent out, and I don't know how many of you remember this, but they sent out a survey, an all-member survey. And this is what they're basing a lot of their movement on. So they have done working groups, which I was part of. They did the survey for everybody. And then they had demoed many of the products. And there have been many, many, many informal conversations between leagues at local levels, between treasurers. There's a lot of discussion going on. And we'll see where it all ends up. This is the time frame for it to be completely done. So the implementation started in November 2023. It will be finished. Everybody will be mandated to be up and running by January of 2025. I have told them that we will be ready to go in January, not before. There are some leagues that are gonna be their guinea pigs in setting this up. But as far as I'm concerned, we are not doing this until January 2025, because there's just too much to get done at the local level with the election. For some reason, it's my opinion that at the US League, they think that all of our work stops on the day after election day, and it doesn't. So I've done what I have to do for them. I've set up a Stripe account, which you'll hear more about in a little bit. But as far as anything else, only if it's mandatory am I going to do it. So at this point, this is the basic structure piece. I just want to answer any questions on that before I delve deeper. So if anybody has any questions, and I can't get into the chat, so I don't know if there's anything there. There's not. Good.
There is no one in chat so far.
Okay, good. So then we get to move on. Okay, the changes for the league volunteers. So this is where their talking points really become important. So for roster managers, we don't have a roster manager because the roster manager is the one who keeps track of all the members. We have a database to keep track of all of our members, so that doesn't really pertain to us. All of our members can join online, they can update their own information. So we don't have a roster manager to do that. The treasurers, they say it will reduce the need for depositing checks and mailing PMP checks. PMP checks get mailed once a year. It's 2 checks. It's not a big deal. Depositing checks, Peg and I have a great system, works really, really well, and it's not a big deal. So it might save us a little bit of trouble, but I'm not sure about that yet. Membership chairs, fewer members will require follow-up to renew, as they have the option to renew automatically. And we'll talk a little bit about that too, but just because a member has the option to renew automatically, which they already do with ours as well, because they get their notices ahead of time, they get calls later on. So that's, that's what's, their talking points don't mean a whole heck of a lot to me. So, but that's what they're saying. The changes in how to join. This is where kind of the rubber meets the road piece. They join online through any website, and there will be a national QR code that will be provided for any member, league, or organization who wants to use it. It is the only QR membership joining code you can use. When you click on that to join, you can pick any league, local or state. And you can sign up. You can still sign up offline, but they haven't figured out how that's going to work yet. They don't know what data is going to be collected when people join either. So that's still to be determined. And you can sign up to auto renew. They're constantly saying that this is a big issue, and the membership will be on a rolling basis, which we already have. So I'm not sure if that's all that we're getting out of this. I'm not sure it's worth it. So then we have, so this is how the increase in membership is going to happen. Auto renew, join from any site, national membership drives, which is what the one piece that I am happy about, and a pay-as-you-can model. So there's no mandatory payment anymore, except for a floor of $20 a year. So everybody can join at $20 a year if you want. So membership dues. Instead of fixed dues rates, you can choose the dues amount that you want. The recommended rate will be $75 per individual membership, a minimum of $20, and then there will be listed options of 150, 250, and 500. So when you're presented with the join page, you will see all of these. The local league will only see 20% of whatever you choose. That's it. Okay. So, come on. Thank you. Membership types. There will be individual members for 75, household members, which they're saying right now is going to be 112.50, but I have a feeling they're going to probably change that to 115 or 110. It's too cumbersome, that number. Lifetime members are still exempt from dues, and there will no longer be a distinct student membership since there is a floor of $20 for membership. However, and again, this is to be determined, they have said that if a local league wants to augment and reduce that price amount for students, there will be a way for us to do it, but they don't know how that's going to happen. Okay, the dues split is kind of where the rubber meets the road here. There will no longer be fixed state and national per member payment amounts. So right now, we have, out of the $70 that is an individual membership, 37 goes to national, 20 goes to state, and 18 comes to us. That's going away. Each level will take a percentage of the membership dues paid. And that was voted on at the 2022 convention. So I can tell you that everybody was going to the convention. I told them to vote no on that. So hopefully they did, but it still passed. Not by much. It did not pass by much, but it did pass. And then the percentage stays the same when members pay less, more, or equal to the recommended amount. So if you pay $500, we get 20%. If you pay $20, we get 20%. Whatever you pay on renewal, we get 20%. So this is what happens to the dues. And remember those QR codes that I talked about? Those QR codes will only direct everybody to the US League website, because that's the only place people can go to join or to renew. It's the only place available. They will pay their dues. It will flow into LWVUS's Stripe account, which is a financial institution similar to PayPal. 33% of that membership dues will go to the LWVUS, 20 to us, and 47 to the state league. And then it flows into the local league account and the state league account. So that's how it's going to work come January 2025. So the allocation for us, so I broke this down for our last full year. And under the present one, as you can see, national got 37, state got 20, we got 18. And those are the percentages of the breakdown. Under the new system, since it's strictly a percentage for the $75 individual, national will get 33, state will get 47, and the local will get 20%. Okay. So that's where that goes. For that year, the current year, we received $3,913. If the process that we have to go to had been in existence, we would have gotten $3,225. So, and then you can see the state league and the US league amounts. So that's our future, unfortunately. Okay, so for the breakdown of the donations, so what happens when people join with us? A lot of times, you know, our amount is $70, and we get a fair amount of people who pay $100. $30 is a donation, which we keep entirely right now, and $70 for the membership, which then gets doled out. So during the last year, we received in those additional amounts, just at renewal times, we received $2,936, right? So if the process we're going to had been in existence, we would have gotten from that $2,936, we would have gotten $587.20. And the US League would have gotten almost 1,000, and the state league would have gotten about 1,400. So they said that their claim is, Peg, you have a dire question, I can see. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes,
Okay, you can hear me.
Yes.
The state is going to get more. Is that a correct statement?
correct. They're getting 47% of whatever is donated. Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting what, $500 less than we would have gotten if we just use those numbers. But state is going to get more. Are we going to get different services from state, or do you not know yet?
Don't know. That question has been asked numerous times. What is going to be the role of the state office for funding and for services? And we have not gotten an answer. Anne, do you have something to add to that?
I do, because I've asked the state president, and she said that the amount of money that the state will be receiving will not be significant enough to increase to hire anyone or to change what they're doing at the state level. Now, I don't know if that's because she hasn't seen our presentation, your presentation, and doesn't understand that there will be a fairly significant increase. But that is what she said last time we discussed that at the president's meeting.
And the question that's been asked at the national level and the conversations that I've had with other treasurers and other people is that the US League is going to mandate certain services that the state league will have to deliver because of this increase. But what they will be has not been determined. So, and it all hinges, I think all of this, this whole tower hinges on the fact that the membership is going to increase dramatically. But I don't, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Donna.
Did you say earlier that people can select what level they're joining on? And
Yes.
does that mean then if they select just the state, that all the money goes to the state?
No, they can select their membership, where they want their membership. It can be at a state level or at a local level, but that doesn't affect the dues and the distribution of the amounts. So it will go to a local, if a local league exists in their area, they will still get that 20%.
Okay, but the local level would not have the contact information.
Probably not, no.
Because we used to have national members that when I was membership, and then when they shared the information, I tried to recruit them to come to local events because that's where you have
Sure.
able to do action and etc. Then they stopped sharing those names, and so that's, I don't know. Well, I do know we have a person who was a good friend of Mary Lindsay's and a friend of mine, Fred Zhang, that thinks he's been a member of our local league for 20 years, but it's always the donation to the national.
And that is part of their selling points, is that cannot happen if they sign up on the local league. Once this is all done, they sign up at the national, when they sign up through the national league, they will be signing, they have right in front of them, are you joining the US League, the state league, or the local league? And so they get to choose. And that's how they figure that instance that you're citing will not happen. Again,
but how do they expect us to send our if they're not giving us information with respect to who the members are, how do we send them newsletters?
Well, they're supposed to flow that information down to us. They just have not decided yet what data they're actually going to collect on those members. They clearly have to collect their emails and their phone numbers if they're going to renew. So that information is supposed to flow down to the local league. Right now it flows up. The future starting in January is that information will flow down. They feel it will be a better structure and that it will be more precise. It's, this is all a work in progress, and we don't have an option of staying out of this for a year and seeing how it all goes. We have to, and again, I'm doing this as late as I can to jump us into this. So,
Well, obviously they think that this model is going to work, because otherwise they would lose money as well.
correct.
They believe that people are going to sign up, obviously at the national level, and then, so I guess we'll learn, but if we have a new member that joins, they're going to sign up at the only site they can, which is LWVUS. They'll be either electing a local league or not. And if they don't elect a local league and they're from the Kansas City area, we will still get our dollars as well as state. And then they will get their portion. So they believe this is really going to increase membership. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. Is that a correct statement?
Correct.
Okay.
They have said that they will make every league whole. So what we make this year in membership fees, they will keep us whole for that amount for the next 2 years.
Okay.
So if we receive less, they will make that difference up.
Okay.
I'm not, I'm still not convinced. But I think they're going to lose money for the first 2 years, clearly. So somebody has to be footing the bill for this, for them to go down this path. But I think we do have 2 years. We'll have some time to play with this. I don't know when their time frame. I believe their time frame is starting in January of 2025 for that year. But I that's still, again, they haven't stipulated that. Julie.
Okay, this is kind of confusing, but analogy that I have in my mind is something we call the National Weather Association. It's a national organization, and then we have the Kansas City local chapter of the National Weather Association. It's the longest serving chapter in the United States with more than 75 years. And so it just doesn't make sense to me. I pay my dues to the National Weather Association, and I don't pay more dues or anything like that. But I belong to the local chapter by definition, because what am I going to do? Now I start thinking more about that, about, engaging in activities of what, like, the local league is doing, for instance. And I start thinking about, what are these people who say, well, I just joined at the national level, so they're not going to participate in our stuff or whatever. And I recently joined some kind of a working group or something at the national level for climate change, because I'm a climate scientist, and I'm very passionate about climate change. And so that I'm getting emails from the national level of the League of Women Voters working group for climate change. So that's fine, but I'm not understanding this. When we join under this new system, that why can't we just say we want to be a member of all three, national, state, and local? I don't understand.
You will be. You will. If you join a local league, you'll certainly get all of the information from the local league. So I don't know where that information cap is going to be if you just join it national, for what information you receive from a local. I don't know any of that. I think that's still to be determined. However, it just, you're right. It's confusing. Granted. Cheryl.
Yes, I have two things, and you already touched on one, was that in Missouri, St. Louis and Kansas City leagues will be the losers financially the next 2 years, but the rest of the smaller leagues will be winners financially. But it's just a hope that all that evens out. But number two, just to make sure I tell people correctly, through the end of this calendar year, we're going by the current way we do things in Kansas City, that if somebody has problems paying a full membership fee, they still can have some kind of help with
Scale. Yeah,
but
we have a
starting
sliding scale. We have a
we're
scale.
on
Yeah.
board anyway, correct?
Yeah, yes.
Well, a lot of people that I don't see in this Zoom meeting who are members have asked that, and I'm trying to convince some younger ladies I know to join, but they're worried about the membership fee. So, okay. I just wanted to pass on the right information.
Yep, you got it.
Okay.
Okay, Sandy?
I guess the question I have is, what problem or problems are they trying to solve? What's the problem definition here?
Increase membership.
Okay, and that's it?
Well, they want to increase membership and they feel, I guess their projections, which they have not shown us, or I have not seen any, mean that with increased membership, more money will flow and more activity will be able to be done at the local levels.
Okay.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
So this is just giving more doors in,
Yes,
so, you can sign up at your local gas station and become a member. And after that, the one that you seem to be a little concerned about or not clear on is, does the information then flow out as far as membership information, the people, the data about them automatically flow to the place they're geographically assigned or located?
correct.
It's not automatic. It has to somehow.
It will be automatic, but they have not decided how. And they have not decided, because the problem is that they have so many leagues that are their membership databases are either held in spreadsheets or on paper. Many of them are not done electronically as ours are. Plus, they have to build a bridge between what the software that they're using at the national level and the software that we're using at each local level in order to make that information flow. They have a bridge right now because it's been flowing the other way. But they have to make sure that that's going to work.
Yeah, they'd have to get Salesforce or some other kind of,
Exactly.
customer management software. Right.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Exactly.
Thanks.
Sure. Donna?
I just want to reinforce what you just said. I was at the convention in 2018 and our league did support the transfer to the portal, the new membership stuff. We were one of their guinea pigs. However, what they were really complaining about then was they had so many leagues with older women that didn't do computers, that did not fill out their information until someone maybe helped them right before convention so they could qualify for delegates and et cetera. So that was also, we've been pushing on getting membership, that's been a real focus even longer than 2018, that we thought we were a dying organization because people were like me getting old and not as active or able to do some of the stuff. So that was part of the reason also that this kind of started back in 16 and 18.
Okay. All
Rita,
right.
we
Yeah.
have a lot of questions in the chat. Do you want to take those now?
Sure. If I'm going to answer it later, I'll just say that. So yeah. go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So how did they determine the percentages?
Don't know.
Okay. What is the rationale behind behind the state being the big winner with the new system?
Because they feel that the stronger the state office is, the stronger the local programs will be. What that means is to be determined.
Okay. What is the projected increase in the number of members?
They haven't said.
Okay. And then is there a way to just donate to the local chapter, the local league?
Yes, we're going to get to that.
Okay. Thought we might. I think that's it for now.
Okay. All right. So shortfall mitigation. So this is the thing that I mentioned this, that they're committed to making leagues whole for the first 2 years that this is in operation. After that, you're on your own. The amount will be based on previous year's calculation. This does not take into consideration donations. This is strictly for membership fees. And then the increase in membership is expected to outpace any loss for most leagues after 2 years. So that's all the things that we've been talking about. Donating to local leagues. Because of the variable dues amounts, higher dues payments are no longer contributions exclusive to the local league. Clearly, if you join and you do a donation of, if their membership fee suggested individual rate is 75 and you pay 100, we see 20% of that 100. Previously, we would have paid out to the US League and the state league their amounts, and we would have kept that extra 25 completely by ourselves. So that's no longer the case. It will be clear on the join page what the split is. So they have said that when somebody goes to join, the split of who's getting what amount that you are sending the US League will be clear. Again, we haven't seen any of these screens, so we'll see. And working to find a solution that will make it as easy as possible for donors. So they think it's too difficult for people to join at the US League and then to go into the local league and send a donation. That's the talking point that I want us to put out there. Okay. So donating to your local leagues, so we can help by making it clear with members that this part of joining has changed. Fundamentally, a significant goal of the changes is to send resources to the leagues. And as we learn, changes may need to be made. So when they go to our website, if they go to our website to join, the join button has to go to the US League site. Cannot go to our site. So that join button, which is going to have to be on our website, I'm hoping, and again, this is depending on what their join button looks like, etc. I'm hoping that we can put verbiage underneath the join site that we only receive 20% of whatever they pay to join the league. And if they want to make a donation to us, to make it here, and we'll have a donation button to us or something along those lines, because somehow we have to make it clear to everybody that you can all go join the US League for $20. And then if you want to pay any extra and you want to see it spent where you live, since all politics is local, donate to us and we will use it. So that to me, that's a big change. So one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation with the membership now, and periodically I'll put something in the e-voter for any updates, and we'll have to change our website accordingly as far as the US League demands. So that's pretty much what we're going to have to do. So there's one other thing I wanted to mention in this, is that, remember this, the slide that I showed that said, no. So I'm going to stop sharing this. So there was one other slide that I showed that talked about the stripe, where the money went, flowed from the US League down to their amount, and then it's got split off, right? Stripe charges a little over 5% for each transaction. We will have to pay our fair share of that as well. We will have to pay 20% of whatever that will be. Which, since we have never made either the state or the US League pay their fair share of what we pay from PayPal, which is not anywhere near, it's less than, well, it's probably about 55% of the 5%. So, but we've had to send that full amount in money dollars to the US League and the state league. We haven't been able to deduct our costs from that. However, when it flows from the top down, we will. So even though we get the 20%, it's gonna be 20% less whatever the stripes amount is gonna be. So that's gonna be our talking points, I think, is that we need to convince everybody. And the question is for me anyway, and then I'll take it to the board also, but I would love some of the input from league members. We have, when you join or rejoin for our league, there is also a donation button there saying you can donate, which I think is one of the reasons so many people do pay $100 as opposed to the $70. That donation button, I'm going to take down. I don't want people to continuously think that when they join, they can donate and that's it. They want to donate, and we've made it very easy. So in this piece, it's going to be, when should I take that down to break that habit for people who have been donating? I don't know. Haven't done it yet. Karen?
Maybe I was thinking about that too. Maybe the donate button could be changed to say donate to LWVKC.
I can do that now on ours, but right now it's still all coming to us. When it is on the US League site, I can't do that.
You can't have a donate button up there at all?
No, there will be a donate button, but we will only receive 20% of it. I can have it on our website, but that means they have to go 2 places.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, no. Sandy?
Well, I guess this is maybe redundant, but there's a join button that transacts one way, as you presented. There's a donate button that lands on us. Why isn't it that simple? And I'm asking for things like adopt a poll.
Yeah, because when we shift, you're talking about when we shift to the local league or when we do it.
I'm just saying, when somebody goes to our site, Kansas City site, there's a donate button up there, that money flows directly to us.
Right.
Has nothing to do with the membership fees process.
Right, right. And it's really the piece that I'm worried about is when you join or renew, do you want to make a donation at the end of your renewal process just before you pay? And a lot of people hit that. Do you want to make a donation?
Well, yeah, that's a website content adjustment. Yeah, and a big red warning message at the top saying,
yeah,
this money is for dues only. See donate button for the other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okey doke. Anybody else have any more questions on this? This has been recorded, so you can send anybody who wants to listen to it to go to it. But like I said, as I continue to go, yes.
Rita, I'm sorry, I have a question and Zoom is not helping. I can't figure out where the news button is, and I have raised my hand, but I didn't have the magic thing come up. So I just have a question, and it's really a general question that I have as someone who has, if I go to a restaurant and I pay with my credit card, I know that that restaurant is paying 3 to 5% of what I give them just because I pulled out my Visa card. And there are certain situations where I prefer, because of that, not restaurants, by the way, I prefer to pay by check.
Correct.
And maybe that is antiquated technology, but I don't think that it costs the institution money to cash my check. Maybe it does.
No.
And so I'm not quite sure why the league and a bunch of other people are not encouraging people to pay by check, because it's worth 3% of the donation to them.
Well, mainly the answer to that is because younger people do not do checks. They just don't. They use their phone. They have their credit card on the phone. I mean, when I ask my daughters, do you ever pay anything by check? They look at me like I'm crazy. They
But the
just-
next question truly, and I'm dead serious when I say this as a mother, the next question is, do you know how much it's costing
Oh, yeah,
for you to do that?
yeah.
Do you
I mean,
think about it when
I
you
have
do?
it broken down for us, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, but I think that some of that information could go out, because it's easy to write a check.
And I
It's
think,
gonna cost me 68 cents and some other stuff to send it to you.
Correct.
But I would rather you had my entire donation. I don't mean you, the league had my entire donation. And I'm sure just listening to the conversation today, people are going to be donating to LWVKC in whatever way that's possible.
Right.
And not getting caught up in this business. And just another point, I think there is a snare and a delusion here. $70 is a lot of money to belong to an organization. And if the option is $20, I think the national organization is going to see a whole lot of people joining at the $20 rate.
I think so too. I agree with you.
And because I certainly wouldn't pay more than I had to.
Right, exactly.
So,
I agree with you, and I think that they think that that's what's going, that amount is going to boost membership to such a degree that it will cover the differences. But for organizations such as ours that has anything over, I'm going to say 100 members, I can't see that happening. I'm hope I'm wrong, but I can't. The other thing is, one of the things, if you've noticed, especially a lot of nonprofit organizations, when they're collecting money these days, when they say, if you're paying by credit card, do you want to pay the fees in your donation?
no, I know that.
Ask for that. And so the idea that this is costing, there's an extra piece in there and a lot of people who are making money from it. One of the things that really aggravated me, PayPal gives nonprofits a discount. So they give us a discount on everything. We don't pay the full fare from what PayPal charges for people who use credit cards. Stripe does not have that. And I'm like, why would you go with Stripe? That was just one of my first things. They don't even want to work with nonprofits, or they would make it an incentive. So it's just, some of the things that they're doing are very annoying. Since I've been in the nonprofit arena for a very long time, they just don't seem to be taking a lot of that into consideration. But yeah, I agree with everything you said, Elizabeth, I really do.
I'll send you a check, Rita.
Okay. Sandy?
I guess you spent a lot of time explaining this, and I think I understand it. Do we have a position where we're for or against this? And I'm concerned about what
It's already been voted on. It was voted on.
I understand, but to the extent that we're trying to get members, are we okay with this and want to sound a little upbeat about it, or talk about the positive attributes of gaining new members? I mean, I'm feeling a little bit of a mixed message here, a little grumbling, a little confusion, that sort of thing. And I get that as part of the change process. But on the other hand, where do we want to land in terms of our outward look?
Yeah, and I think that's a big question. And unfortunately, because they have not given us, they have not decided all of the answers to these questions yet. So they haven't shown us screenshots of what their new website is going to look like. They haven't decided on what data is going to be coming down. There's so many pieces that they haven't decided on yet that it's difficult for us to actually say what we want to do. I have made it known to many of them at the US League level that we're not happy with this, and I have broken it down and sent them examples of how much it's going to cost us and everything else. And what I get back from them is, we'll make you whole for the first 2 years. And I'm like, and their second talking point in all of this is that if it does not work, if we see it is not working, we will adjust. Well, does that make me feel better? Not particularly, but there's no time frame for any of this. There's nothing. So I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. And I don't think that we can, I just want to get this out there so that members, and that's one of the things the US League is pushing, make sure your members know that this is coming down the pike, give them information about it. But where we stand on it, I think that's going to be a huge discussion for the board at their retreat in June.
Well, the mechanics of this is part of the issue, but the bottom line is we're still out there, protecting voters, defending democracy. So, I mean, the big message this year is only one, that's that sort of thing. The mechanics of joining are, hey, join.
Yeah.
Please join. That's it.
Yep, exactly. Peg?
Sorry, I muted
Okay.
people because there was some noise. So yeah,
That's
you'll have to unmute when it's your turn.
Yep, I did. Yeah, I kind of feel like Sandy. I'm hearing you don't like it, but there's nothing we can do about it, it sounds like at this point. All
Right.
we can do is voice from a leadership perspective, voice what our concerns are and how they're going to address it. I think the positive of this is, it's easy to join, hit this button. And, if they are having options of joining at $20, I don't know that I would join at 20. I want something to go to state. Because hopefully we can convince state is if people are going to continue at the 7, because it says recommended donation is 70 versus 70, 75. Yeah. So that money still goes to state. Do you know, Rita, if there are going to be options like Elizabeth mentioned, if I do a direct deposit from my bank, so like a debit, if you will, there is no finance charge. Will I be able to write a check? There's
will
nothing to
be.
stop people from using your PayPal account. It just goes through their system.
Right.
Okay, so there will be options for people to pay differently?
There will be, the only two options you will get at the US League site is to pay by a debit/credit card through a Stripe, and then it will go through a Stripe account because that's the way they're setting it up, or to pay by check. And they haven't determined how that process is going to work other than the check being delivered to the treasurer of the local league.
Okay.
So that's all I know. Okay, thanks, Peg.
I do appreciate the fact that that people can make a direct contribution to the local league, because that might put something forefront. And if they're going to be upfront about this is how much is going to the national, this is how much is going to the local, this is how much is going to the state, and then you look and say, oh gosh, the local league's only going to get so much. I'm going to make a donation to the local league. But like you said, is it the donation being made there on their website, then that gets distributed at 20% versus donating at our page, which would then get us our full amount. So I do have a little bit of a concern with that, but somehow we need to turn this positive. It doesn't sound like we have an option. And it's going to be easy for people to join the league at really $20 is a pretty low rate, even for students. I mean, they spend, $10 on a cup at Starbucks. So that's all. I'll stop.
Well, we'll see how it goes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's early days, but I just wanted to start pushing this information out there. Karen?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, let's look at the positive on this. If people see that they can donate at 20, then there's extra money to donate to us. And now maybe they don't understand how that works and it gets split anyway the same way. But certainly by the second year, when they renew, they'll have, hopefully been to some meetings and know how it goes. And they'll know, okay, I can renew at 20 and then I can write a check to the local league or pay cash or however. So maybe it is a positive.
Well, I think that's the position of the US League. I really do. Donna?
Seems like when I first was hearing about this change to more a federalist group or something they talked about. So, and they put up, I thought they put up the example of the American Association of University Women. And I don't know how they handle things, if that is that they all join at the national level and the money funnels down, or if that's any resource for us, because they've been doing it for a long time. And I know Reba was a representative with AUW and such, but it would be nice to know how other people have lived with it.
Yeah, I that name has not come up at all as an example. They have not referenced any other nonprofit organization in their discussions. So
In the earlier transformation roadmap stuff, I remember we went through that back when we were meeting at the church, at the Community Christian.
Mhm.
And there was a federation-based model that they were trying to organize around and take cues from. So I think whether it was AAUW or junior leagues or something, there was a larger structure that they were trying to model.
okay. Cheryl?
First of all, Marilyn McLeod, the president of the state league, I believe is a member of the AAUW, and she had some problems with her membership with that organization, with it going to national. So maybe chatting with her. That one thing that's been talked about in the past was the possibility of people having, instead of paying once a year, their membership monthly. And I just wondered, is that still not a possibility at all?
Not
That people monthly
Not at this
instead of annually?
not at this transition, no.
Okay. I was hoping maybe it could be a possibility. But, okay, thanks.
Reva?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that they're going to try this out and see what happens, and they can adapt. They don't seem to have much answers to the questions that you had, which concerns me that they didn't really think about this very well. But so let's say after the first year or so, we do things like, Karen suggested we maybe give $50 and then we give more, 75 or, $100 to our own league. And it'll be interesting to see how many people decide to do that. I mean, I would consider it definitely. I mean, I don't have a problem giving 75, but I would definitely consider, well, do I want to give 75 if we're only getting, $20 or something? So it'll be interesting to see if they lose a lot of money. And I know they're probably expecting that in the first year or two, but I just kind of wonder if after 2 years they're still losing money, what they're going to do. Now, obviously, you don't have a question to that, but I just thought I'd put that out there.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting evolution as we go through it. And
I'm gonna advocate just a little bit for the national and the state leagues, because
Oh,
I don't like this split. I don't like that we're losing money, but I do think it's important that the state and the national leagues are well funded as well, because the National League provides us with lots of resources at the local level. They also engage in litigation and things that we can't do. They can do it because collectively they have the funds to do it from all of the local leagues. I think I would love to see our state league provide more resources to our local leagues. And perhaps if they were better funded, they could add additional staff and we would see some real robust support from the state league. So I just want to I just wanted to advocate for, I hope that we don't game it such that we drain them of all their resources.
Right, and I don't want to do that either. I think part of the challenge here is walking that line, but one of the reasons it's difficult to walk that line is that the US League has not put all its cards on the table. They haven't said what, they have said that there are going to be higher expectations of success, whatever that looks like, from the state leagues in supporting local leagues, but they haven't said anything more than that. That's a very broad statement. It could mean any number of things. And if it just means that they're going to work with our least active groups in the state of Missouri, I'm happy with that. Yes, of course. But they're not saying anything. So that's the problem I have, is that either they have not thought this through completely, or they're afraid that what they put up there, they're going to get pushback from. And so they're not going to do it until the last minute. And so either one of those is just not, it just doesn't seem like it's well thought out. So, Donna?
Of course, remember, we are all the workforce for the state. They don't have a special workforce, so it's still gonna, things that they do more of may require us, like how much we've done with legislative action and et cetera. But they also might have more money for more pass-through grants that they could give to the local league to help us do our projects. Is that right, Ann?
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I was actually going to push back a little bit that we've been in a unique situation for the last couple of years, in that I have functioned as an executive director for free, and I've done a lot of the things that the state level, that a paid employee should be doing. And so yes, we are the volunteer workforce, but there's a false, it's been a little bit false, and I don't think we can expect future presidents to function as a nearly full-time executive director. And that is something that developing trainings, developing all of these systems. I mean, the legislative action system is statewide, all of that kind of thing, those administrative duties, those should be done at the state level and paid.
Yeah, and just flow them through. Yeah, I agree. So
You've done a great job.
But that,
well, and I wasn't trying to toot my horn, because I'm very concerned actually that I've done a disservice to the league by making, and it was just it was just happenstance that my business didn't survive COVID that allowed me to do that. But yeah, anyway, thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to tag on Ann on this one. I put a note in the comment there that if state is going to get money, that we should have an east and a west paid staff person, because even years ago, the people on the west side, I don't want to say we get shortcutted, but because we're not in St. Louis and that's where the office is, and they have volunteers that go into the office, you have to think they're working on St. Louis stuff. So I certainly advocate for that, and whoever our representatives are at the state level should be pushing as hard as we can and advocating with other local leagues to get something like that to happen. I mean, you could include Kansas City in with Columbia, and even though they're divided pretty much close. And so anyways, I certainly think we need to push our agenda a little bit more at the state level to help with those things that you're talking about and that we have done over the years.
Right. Mary Ann?
Yeah, I would just suggest that one example is the Sierra Club, and the Sierra Club has a paid lobbyist. I mean, they have somebody who goes down and confronts lobbyists or legislators. We don't have anything like that, and I think that's a problem because we're relying on people like Ann and all these folks who follow this legislation to do the work that I think most organizations expect someone to be paid to do.
Yeah, there's certainly no shortage of examples out there that the US League could be looking at in order to implement some more activity at the state level. I just wish they would communicate that. You know, I don't know. And maybe it will be to provide a paid staff member for or a lobbyist at state levels that meet a certain criteria or whatever it is. So I think that that's something that would be nice. Riva? I think you froze, Riva. Or did I freeze?
Reva.
Okay, I think Riva froze. So if let's see. Riva, are you there? No, you're muted. You're mute. Okay.
Okay, it says in my internet, for some strange reason, is going off and on. But anyway, and I'm just going to be a devil's advocate here. I mean, I do agree with Pat that if we are going to be paying the state more money, we should be getting some services from that, regardless of what Maryland says that they're not getting enough money to do that. If they're not getting enough money to do that, then why are they getting it? I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that we could be really nasty and say after 2 years, you know, we're not getting any services for this money we're paying you. So we're going to pay the $20 and then we're going to give the rest to our own league. I mean, I hate to be that way, but I mean, it is a way for us to fight back if we feel like we're not getting the attention.
Right. I agree. Cheryl?
There we go. Marilyn has written several articles saying, what do you expect for the price of a good pizza from the state? I'm not excusing anything, but you know, again, the certain amount of money available to pay for an office in St. Louis and staff. And I'm just wondering what's happening with the states that don't have office or staff. Do you know?
I don't know.
What's going to happen? I will say that now that we have a league in St. Joseph, they're a small league, but they seem to be still very vibrant. We can, I'm sure, join forces with them to ask for services on the west side of the state.
Okay. Ann, do you see any questions in the chat that should be answered?
I think we have addressed all of the questions. There are just lots of comments about, yes, we'd like to see more support from the state and a lobbyist would be great and some things like that.
I have to say, I don't think the US League is not doing either state offices or the local offices any service by not coming out with their plan, no matter what it is, because then we have all of this, we have all of these conversations and where do we fall? And we can't make that decision. It's not clear cut. So until we get more information, and like I said, you know, however, I might come in at the end of a membership meeting from here on out, because the basic is laid, it's been recorded, people can go back and look at it. So you know, we'll continue to have these conversations and the board will continue to update the membership on how this looks and what it looks like and how it's rolling out and what further decisions have been made that can add to our knowledge base so that we can determine what stance, if any, we want to take. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Rita, for coming and explaining all of that to us. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. I just have a couple of announcements before we end the meeting. One is please be sure to attend the Sunshine Law presentation. It is Monday night at 6:30 at Shikardi and Bacon. You can get more information on the website, of course, or you can look back at your last e-voter, which was this past Tuesday. And the second thing I wanted to say is be sure that you are looking at your e-voter. That's where all of your information is. I can't tell you how many people say, "Oh, I didn't know that." And I said, "Well, it was in the e-voter." And it's well written. We've got a good editor and a couple of contributors now. So please, please be sure that you are reading the e-voter. We've been asked about more training for volunteers. We're taking a couple of weeks off, so we will not be offering training for at least a couple of weeks. When we do offer it, guess what? It'll be announced in the e-voter. So please read your e-voter. It comes out twice a month on Tuesdays, the Tuesday before the regular membership meeting, and then 2 weeks after that. And if you are a member, you get both. If you are a supporter, you get one, the one that comes out right before the meeting. And then also be sure that you attend next month's member meeting. It's actually a little bit later in the month than usual, and it is our annual meeting. So we vote on things and it's in person and Zoom, but we encourage you to come in person. And we get a lot of work done. It's a very satisfying meeting. And yeah, Peg mentioned that Vote 411 is live for the April elections. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And I look forward to seeing you next month. Thank you.